Thanks for joining me today to make a new crochet project. This is Heidi from Snappy Tots. I don't know if you've heard or not, but Red Heart and Yarnspirations have combined. Red Heart is now available on the Yarnspirations website, so you can get all of their patterns at the same place. And I think it's going to be a fun adventure. So to celebrate the two combining, I thought it would be fun to combine their two yarns. These two have the same colors, very similar, and I thought it would be kind of neat to see how they look together. So for this scarf, I am going to use a little bit bigger hook. Well, actually quite a bit bigger hook, because I want it to be a little bit softer, not quite as thick. This yarn calls for an H hook and this one calls for an I hook. Together, I would, if I wanted a thick scarf, I might use like a K hook, but I am going to use this hook. It is an 11.5 millimeter hook. When I bought it, it came in a pack with a Q hook, and it's made by Boy, and it said that it was a P hook. But a P hook is also 15 millimeter. Isn't that weird? It can be either one. It can be 11.5 millimeter or a 15 millimeter. This one is an 11.5. For this scarf, you could use any size hook bigger than a J, and it's just going to make your scarf wider or looser feeling. It's not quite fall here. It's actually quite a ways from fall, but I don't usually like thick scarves unless it's the dead of winter. So that's why I'm gonna do this in a little bit bigger hook. Now, as I look at these two, I like to kind of manipulate my self-striping yarns a little bit. This one starts quite light, and this one is, as you can tell, it's really dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to grab onto these darker colors. I want to keep this kind of raspberry color because it's in the beginning of my tweed yarn. So I'm just going to pull out this middle. I might end up using it later when I get to these outer rim. We'll just see how it goes. Or may just not use it for this project at all. It's a really pretty color by itself too. So I will end up rolling this into a ball to use for later, but I'm just gonna find where it changes to the lighter, and I'm just gonna snip that and set this aside. Now I'm gonna start with these two strands that I'm just happier with these colors together. For this scarf, we need to make sure that we start with a beginning chain that is an even number, because we're going to need an odd number for the body of our scarf. So we're going to attach the yarn to our hook any way that you do. This is how I do mine. I just wrap it around and then pull it through. I know some people use a slip knot and then slide it on, but I'm going to create a chain of 16 so that I end up, after I work my first row of single crochet, so I end up with 15 stitches, which is an odd amount. And the reason I tell you that is because if you want to adjust the width of your scarf, you'll just want to make sure that you have an even number of chains in the beginning. So I'm going to chain 16. Make sure that you keep this on the looser side. I know some people actually use one size bigger hook so that it isn't too tight. I've had several projects where I've made and the beginning chain is more snug, and so it just kind of cinches in at the bottom. I just need 2 more. So there is my chain of 16. Then I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each chain across, and that will give me 15 stitches at the end. I just need to make sure I have an odd number of stitches for this scarf. So there's my first row. I'm going to measure it and see how wide it is. Okay, so my scarf is going to end up being 7 inches wide. So you can adjust that any way you want. And kind of funny, I probably would have gone just a little bit smaller, but I can't do 13 stitches across. I'm not usually a superstitious person, but this would definitely be my unlucky scarf if the whole entire thing was 13 stitches. So that's why I went with 15. Now I'm going to chain 2 and turn my piece. And this first stitch, I always work in the stitch right below the turning chain. I know some people will start in this one over. I feel like that just leaves a big gap. So to snug mine up, I always work in that first stitch. And then I'm going to skip 1 and work 2 double crochet in the next stitch. And that is my repeat for across this row. I'm going to skip 1 and 2 double crochet in the next stitch. So it's creating little V's as we go across. Okay, that row is complete. Now, I usually don't count my turning chain as a stitch, but for this project, since I'm creating V's, that beginning chain does complete the first V. So 2 posts together are V stitches. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn my piece. And then I'm going to work 1 double crochet between these first 2 posts. Okay, not in the stitch. I'm actually going to put it right here. So let me show you really quick. So I've got 2 double crochets together as we go and a little space between. I am not going to be working in between each V. So think V space, V space. I'm not going to be working here. I'm going to actually be working in the middle of the V. So ignore these spaces. My first one is going to go here, and I'm only going to work 1 double crochet between these 2 posts, and it's the only V stitch that I'm just going to work 1, because my second is this post. So there's my V stitch for the next row, but for each one to the end of the row, I am going to work 2. So I'm going to jump over this one or skip this stitch, and I'm going to work 2 between these 2 DCs that are together. So every place that we worked 2 double crochet together, we're going to pull those posts apart and work 2 between that. So there is our row, and it's look, I like the colors together. They are better together. So that is what we're going to do. So just keep working that, and you can make your scarf any length that you want. And I'm excited for the next color change. I hope it's soon because I want to see how this works out. I am so pleased with how my scarf has turned out. I've used almost exactly 1 full skein of each of the 2 yarns that I was working with. And so now I'm going to work 1 row of single crochet to finish it off. So after my last one in each stitch, I'm just going to work 1 single crochet. I think these yarns worked really well together. I'm just really pleased, and they both were really nice to work with. They didn't split, they didn't drag on my hook at all. I really like how they glide across. This was a really nice project. It probably took me less than 2 hours probably. I've just worked on it a little bit throughout the day when I was in the car waiting for my son, and just here and there. So I just really like how that turned out. So now I'm just going to trim my 2 ends, and I'm going to pull my yarn tail through, and then I'm just going to take and weave this yarn tail in and out with a yarn needle. All right, so this is all I had left of the 2 yarns. This one is the Red Heart, and this is the Bernat, so not very much of this. And so I really like fringe, and I wanted to add some across each end of my scarf. And since I don't have very much left of this Bernat, I'm going to use 3 strands that are 8 inches long for each part of my fringe, and I'm going to do 2 of those in the red heart and 1 in the solid Bernat color. Now what I could do, since there's so much color in this piece, I'm sure I could find different yarn colors that would match and just do that. Like there's some lavenders, I mean there's all different colors I could use, or I could do it all in this tweed, but I just thought I would, since it's here and I don't have to go pull any more yarn out, I can just use these up. That's what I'm gonna do. And so I've cut 3 strands, and I'm going to take the center, and with my hook, I'm just going to pull it through one of the stitches, pull that middle through, and then even up my ends. And then I'm just going to pull the ends through those center loops and pull it snug. And then when I'm all done at the very end, I can lay these out, flatten them, and I usually take like my rotary cutter and just cut them all off, or you can hold them up and just use scissors like a hairdresser. So that's what I'm going to do to finish off my scarf, and then it will all be done. I hope you have enjoyed this project. It sure went a lot faster than I thought it would, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out, because I was a little concerned as I got part of the way in. I thought, I wonder if this is going to turn out to be great, or something that is like, maybe we'll just frog this and start again. But I'm pleased. I think it's really colorful, and it will be fun for later in the fall and winter, and I think I know exactly who I'm going to send it to as a Christmas gift. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please share pictures of your scarf, and remember, we are better together in every way, and we need to just try and support each other as we go. Thank you for crocheting this with me.